Today we're talking about systems, more specifically systems that are going to make dropshipping feel as easy as it did back in 2016.
I've made millions of dollars with dropshipping.
Dropshipping stores to $100,000 in a week.
Generated almost $1.7 million in
I built did $1.1 billion in dropshipping.
And I might have the best one you'll come across this year. Now I know this works because it's the exact thing that took my newest brand to over 60 grand in its first 6 weeks, running almost entirely on AI. But it wasn't always like this. When I first started, I did exactly what everyone told you to do, where you find a winning product, you rip the ad, you run it for a week, and the moment it stops working, you go and find another one and start all over again from scratch. As you can imagine, I capped out fast. Because when every product is a fresh gamble like that, most of them lose, and you end up spending more than you ever bring in. What I actually needed was a system that compounded, where the money carried over month to month instead of disappearing the second a product stops working. So that's exactly what I built. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through all 4 parts of it, exactly how each one works. And at the end, I'll tell you which part you need to fix first if you want this to actually start paying you. Now, before we get into the 4 parts, I want to make sure we're on the same page about what a system actually is. When most people hear the word system, they think about their Shopify theme, or the research tool they paid for, or the supplier they finally tracked down. Those are tools. They are pieces of the puzzle, but not one of them on its own is a system. And that confusion is the exact reason most people stay stuck. A system in dropshipping is the full repeatable engine that takes a complete stranger who just saw your ad on Facebook and turns them into a paying customer, and then keeps doing that same thing the same way every single time. And the best example of what I mean is McDonald's. Every McDonald's on the planet makes a Big Mac the exact same way, with the same steps and more or less the same taste, whether you're eating it in London or in Tokyo. The person behind the grill can't decide to throw in 2 spoons of sauce when the recipe says only 1, because the whole thing is locked down. And since it's locked down, it runs the same no matter who's making it. That's the reason there are tens of thousands of them running clean across the world right now. Your dropshipping store has to work the same way, because if the only thing holding it together is you waking up every morning and figuring out fresh, then the whole thing is fragile and you'll never scale past where you currently are right now. And that's exactly what I ran into when I first started, which is why I had to build this thing in the first place. Because back when I was younger, I sold a Galaxy projector on TikTok, completely organic with no ad spend, filming it every single night, studying the viral videos and then going and recording my own, until one of those videos hit 2 million views and I did around £200,000 in a couple of months off the back of it. I genuinely thought I'd made it because I was just a kid and it felt like free money falling out of the sky. And then the whole thing collapsed because the videos stopped popping, and when I tried paid ads, I lost money. And when I paid an agency to fix it, I lost even more. And then PayPal froze 25 grand of mine for months until I eventually just walked away from dropshipping completely. Because the truth is, it had only ever been one lucky hit with nothing underneath it holding it up. The Galaxy projector was a gamble that happened to win, whereas the brand I'm running now is a system. And once you build the 4 parts, which I'm about to show you, you stop starting over every month and the wins finally start stacking on top of each other. So let's start with the first one. The product system. Now, this is how you decide what you're actually going to sell, which is the part most people run on pure feeling. They'd scroll AliExpress, find something they personally think looks cool, and sell that. Or they grab whatever happens to be trending on TikTok that week and just throw it straight up. But there's no real logic behind any of it because it's a guess dressed up to look like a strategy. And the thing that took me a long time to understand is that as a beginner, you can't market your way out of a bad product yet because you haven't actually learned how to market at all. So if you pick something that needs heavy convincing to sell, like a supplement or some complicated gadget, you're going to lose because you'll sit there making ads for weeks that nobody buys, since selling that kind of thing takes a skill you simply don't have yet. So the move is to take that whole problem off the table before it can ever hurt you. And you do that by selling desire-based products. Things like jewelry, clothing, anything fashion related where someone sees the image and instantly wants it without you needing to explain a single thing. But you're still not just guessing which ones are good, and that is where validation comes in. So you head over to the Facebook ads library, which is completely free, and every dropshipper running meta ads is already sitting in there. So you search the terms they use, like sale ends today, or 50% off, or buy one get one free, and then you filter down to your niche. From there, you look for a seller that has at least 20 active ads that has been live for more than 2 weeks, but only launched within the last few months. Because if someone has been paying to run that many ads for weeks on end, the data is telling you that the product genuinely works. And that's the strongest validation you can possibly get without spending a penny of your own money to find out. The way I think about it is that most people are fishing by throwing a hook into the open ocean and hoping something bites. Whereas this is fishing with sonar, because you can see exactly where the fish already are before you cast a line. Now, the part I normally keep for the people inside my program is the AI side of things, where there's a simple prompt you can run that hands you a whole list of products to go and research. And from there, you can find the exact product on AliExpress. But the principle still stays the same whether you're using AI or not, because you're letting Proof pick the product for you instead of just going with a random one. And by the way, all the tools you'd use for the research and the AI side of things are normally scattered across 1,000 different places, each one separate. So if you want them all in one spot instead of paying for every single one separately, I'll leave a link in the description below where you can get the whole lot together. So that's how you choose what to sell, because there's a reason most people sell a validated product and still get completely destroyed, and it comes down to the second part of the system. The second part is the brand system, which is how you actually deliver your product, and it's what separates the people who build something that lasts from the people who make a quick few grand and then just disappear. Now, everybody online loves to say branded dropshipping, but when most of them say it, all they really mean is making the website look a bit prettier, and that's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is the actual product that ends up in the box on the customer's doorstep. Now, there's a stigma you have to kill in your own head first, because people think dropshipping means selling cheap junk from China at a massive markup, like a $2 piece of jewelry sold for $45. And listen, that worked in 2021, but it does not work anymore, because the customer can tell now, and they can spot something cheap and Chinese from a mile off on a Facebook ad. So the second they do, they won't buy it. They'll go straight to the bigger brand or Amazon instead. So you do the complete opposite and source a product that's genuinely good with better materials and a real feel to it. And the part that most people miss is that Chinese suppliers actually price things according to its quality. So anything sitting at $15 or up in cost is actually a pretty good product. And when that quality goes up, the perceived value goes up with it, which means you get to charge more. So the customer ends up happier and you make more and more in every single order. And there's a hidden killer this protects you from. Now, a chargeback is when a customer rings their bank, says that this was a scam, and they demand their money back. If you sell cheap rubbish, that's exactly what happens, since to the customer, it genuinely was a scam. And once you rack up enough of those, your payment processor shuts you down and you don't even have a business anymore. But when you sell something good, people stop opening them because they're happy with what they got. And that only ever happens because I treat the whole thing like a real brand from the start. That's the entire mindset shift, because dropshipping was never the business itself. It's just the way the product gets fulfilled, and the actual business underneath it is e-commerce. So you treat it like that. So now you've got a validated product and you're delivering it like a proper brand, which means the next question is how you get it in front of people without spending your entire life recording content. And that's where this starts to get fun. Now, the third part is the creative system, which is how you make the ads and actually sell the product. And this one is honestly my unfair advantage right now, because the brand I told you about at the start, the one that hit 60 grand in its first 6 weeks, is made 100% by AI. From the website to the photos to the ads, with no content creators on it yet at all. And the reason this matters is because the product was never actually the hard part. Finding a validated one is easy, when I just showed you how, because the real game is how many ads you can put out and whether you're learning from each one. So here's how the whole system runs. For the offer, I use Claude to write the irresistible offer and the copy that goes with it, because it comes up with far better and more creative angles than just typing it into a basic ChatGPT that isn't actually very good at copywriting. So it hands you something like buy two get one free with a free gift to celebrate, and all you have to do is just give it your product and the target customer. For the visuals, you take the product and use AI to make it look like a real brand shot it, dropping the AliExpress image in and changing the background to a clean studio or a beautiful outdoor scene that matches your customer's dream outcome. I use something like Nana Banana Pro for the photos, and I can turn those straight into videos with something like Kling whenever I want to test a little further. And for the ad copy itself, you don't write this from scratch either, because you take the scripts already working for your competitors, you pull the real complaints out of the reviews, like the ones that had the actual problem rather than the shipping complaints, and you feed both of that into AI so we can remix them into 10 brand new scripts built around those exact pain points. So you're never sitting there with a blank document in front of you thinking of what to say next. You're building on what's already proven to convert. So now you can find a winning product, deliver it like a brand, and produce ads that convert, all of it more or less on autopilot, which leaves only one last part. And it's the one that turns a handful of scattered sales into real money. The fourth part is a scaling system, which is what you do once something finally starts working, and this is the exact part most people get backwards. Because what most people do once they get a taste of success is they find a product, run it for a week, get a handful of sales, and then immediately go off hunting for the next product instead of just building on what already works. Or worse, they treat the whole thing like a casino. throwing 50 quid at a product, making a little bit back, feeling good about it, and then doing the exact same thing again and again until a few of them lose in a row and everything they made disappears. And chasing the next product like that feels like progress, when really you're just starting again from zero over and over. But what you actually do is the complete opposite. Because the moment you find a winner, you stop hunting altogether and you pour everything you have into scaling that one product. And the way you scale it is genuinely simple. You just let the data make the decision instead of your nerves. So you start your ads on a small daily budget, give it a couple of days, and if it comes back profitable, you raise the budget and you keep raising it for as long as the numbers stay profitable. That's honestly the entire method, because the data keeps telling you it's working, so you keep giving it more. And the day it tells you it's not, you just ease off. And that's exactly how I scaled my first clothing brand to 5K a day in a couple of weeks, just by following the numbers in front of me instead of my own feelings. And when a product's run finally starts to cool off, you don't throw it in the bin, you recycle it with new creatives and new angles and fresh AI ads built off what already worked, and you keep that same product alive as a brand. That's how you climb from 1,000 a day to 2,000 a day to 3 to 5, instead of dragging yourself back to zero at the start of every single month. Because chasing products means you're always starting over, while building a brand means every month picks up where the last one left off. And that's how you build a system that makes dropshipping feel as easy as it did back in 2016. Now, we spent this whole video building a store that lasts, but there's one mistake that even experienced dropshippers make the moment they start scaling, and it shuts their whole store down overnight with no warning at all. So watch this video next, where I'll show you exactly what causes it and the simple change that keeps your store safe while you scale.